In January, a runoff election in Georgia will decide who controls the Senate. But no matter how that plays out, Joe Biden will inherit a disaster, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, and a climate crisis that is fueled by the economy itself. Our movement pushed Biden to boldly take on both crises at once, which is why his winning message was a pledge to create millions of green jobs.
Paying jobs will put us on a path to achieving a carbon pollution-free electric sector by 2035.
Biden won the election running on these ideas, and there's a lot he can do even without the Senate. But to understand what that might look like, we have to go back to March 4th, 1933.
Overcast and sullen, shadowed by uncertainty in Washington and throughout the land.
FDR entered his first term at the height of the Great Depression, while environmental disaster was ravaging the Southern Plains and fascism was on the rise. A new era of politics was about to be born.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Like Biden, FDR was elected and pushed into action by popular movements demanding change in a time of crisis. He met the moment by mobilizing every government power at his disposal to help working Americans. He established the Civilian Conservation Corps, which employed hundreds of thousands of young men to plant billions of trees and build the state and national parks that we enjoy today. The Works Progress Administration put millions of unemployed Americans to work, building the nation's infrastructure. As New Deal programs took effect, a newly empowered labor movement organized with progressive politicians to place laws on FDR's desk, like the National Labor Relations Act, which provided a path for millions of workers to join unions and collectively bargain with their employers. And while much of the New Deal was done in coordination with Congress, FDR exercised a level of executive power never before seen in the US, and never seen since. His work included a record-shattering 3,728 executive orders. When the U.S. joined World War II, FDR created the Office of War Mobilization to coordinate an unprecedented surge in wartime production.
It would assure we have the right numbers of workers in the right places at the right time.
Joe Biden could do the same to meet the existential crises of our time. He could create an Office of Climate Mobilization with the powers to coordinate federal agencies in a society-wide mobilization that employs millions, decarbonizing our economy. He can draw inspiration from FDR's presidency, but he should also learn from his mistakes. Much of the New Deal was passed through compromise with racist Southern Democrats, resulting in a number of policies that preserved and furthered racial segregation. Biden's Office of Climate Mobilization should make it a priority to do the opposite, investing first and most in the communities that are on the front lines of racial, environmental, and economic injustice. The New Deal remains one of the most vivid examples of an American government that worked for working people, and because of that, it was extremely popular. The New Deal coalition that formed in the 30s went on to win majorities in Congress for decades. March 4th, 1933, marked the beginning of that New Deal era. January 20th, 2021 could be the beginning of a new era too. The era of the Green New Deal. But Joe Biden doesn't need to wait until the dust settles in Georgia. He can create an Office of Climate Mobilization today, whether Mitch McConnell likes it or not. He has the movement at his back, and he has a mandate to act. This is Biden's FDR moment. The only thing he has to fear is fear itself.